And by way of opening our space together, I offer this from Carl Sagan. For small creatures such as we, the vastness is bearable only through love. And really, that's what's calling us when we gather like this, is to be in a field of love together, of group consciousness, just by showing up as we are and letting the oneness that actually is holding all of us do the rest. We often talk about this experience of oneness as coming home. And the ache, the longing for home lives in all of us. And this, where we gather together, is a safe place where we can come as we are and find welcome just as we are, without pretending to be anything else. In a world that often demands and insists that we pretend, right? The Buddha tells us that you, yourself, as much as anybody in the entire universe, deserve your love and affection. We often forget that. And you're invited here to feel that as we hold you as you are. So consider this question. What is it I really want? What is lacking in my life? What's the fulfillment I long for? Is there something inside me that knows more is possible than I allow myself to experience? Longing is always here. Something in our deepest, innermost being knows there's another reality, another state of consciousness calling us deeper and deeper, regardless of where we are in the moment. So in the pathwork, we're here to look honestly at ourselves and to take responsibility for our lives and the great untapped potential that lies in the depth of human nature. And today, help is here for each of us in the grace of our coming together. One of the things we do is to become aware of what is actually going on inside of us, just below the surface, because we know that what we think becomes the house we live in, like Rumi says, right? We know that God is who we are before we label ourselves. We also know that being is an experience, it's not a thought. And when we come together like this, that experience becomes palpable. It's something we can feel, it's something we can take in, and something we can take back into our lives together. So let's begin with something essential in this work, which is some embodiment, some core energetics that Eva Paraka said is an essential part of the pathwork. So start with this like, give me some room. Let your elbows move. I need space. pushing. Leave me alone. How about this? Get off my back. Get off my back. And stomp those feet. And shake your fists. And you're on mute, so don't be shy. Make some animal sounds. Row! Moo! Ah! Ooh-doo-doo! Really let it out here. Notice any inhibition and just let it go. Now let your eyes soften. Become still. And feel this energy still moving through your system. This is the aliveness of the life force. And now as you go inside, going inside starts with a direction and enters a dimension already here, waiting for you, waiting for me, waiting for us. Let the breath breathe you. The breath is life itself moving through us like a cosmic and vast tide. Let yourself inside the stillness here that welcomes everything you're carrying. Everything, so you can put it down and leave it here. We call in all that cannot be said and which vibrates within us. Visualize yourself now in the enchanted forest inside you of beauty, peace, oneness of all beings, in the ground, in the trees, moving through the air, swimming in the water. Notice a calm now that is so welcome and draws you in further and deeper. There are sounds in the breeze like a song, and silence in the air like music. You come to a large tree and you hear it say, "Here." As you draw closer, you see the most incredible, soft emerald moss. And you just know it's meant for you. Sit on it. Take off your shoes. Feel the earth under your bare feet, so inviting. On your own, your body lays back and stretches on the moss. Legs falling open, arms stretched to your side. You become completely aware of Earth holding you with strength and care, and sky streaming light down on you. Put a hand on your belly. Feel all the emotions of a lifetime swimming around like a bunch of eels. Hear Earth say, "I'll take those." And let Earth have them. Feel them leaving your body like water pouring down into sand. Feel this emptiness, this freedom. Now put a hand on your head and feel all those thoughts scurrying around like ants on an anthill. Hear sky say, "Let me have those." And notice them flying up to the sky like a flock of birds taking off. Feel this emptiness, this freedom. As you lay here on the moss in this moment of freedom, feel the light coming down from the sky, gently shining on all the places of doubt, disbelief, resignation, hopelessness, collapse, pain, despair. Feel the light dissolving them slowly and with confidence. Feel new life coming into old places. Healing is not something we do, it's something we allow. Healing wants us as much as we want healing. Take a few moments and let yourself have this drink at the oasis here. Very slowly, in your own way, in your own time. Let the eyes come back to the circle here. Leaving part of you still there. There and here at the same time. Thank you. My only regret is because you were on mute, I didn't get to hear your animal sounds. I only heard mine. So we'll do our go round, and as many of you are familiar with, you say your name and where you are on the planet, and just a few words about what you're noticing right now, right here and now. Anybody can begin.
Morning, everybody. My name is Judy. I'm from Toronto, Canada. And that was challenging. It was a good guided meditation, Brian. Thank you for that. But it was challenging for me. I have spent a lifetime defending against powerlessness. So letting go is a little too vulnerable for me today.
Yeah, I can appreciate that, Judy. Thank you for bringing all of you here, including that part. It's all welcome. That's what makes this place wonderful.
I'm Jack. I'm near Woodstock, New York, and I'm watching a very, very peaceful, gentle snowfall out my window next to the bird feeder.
Jack, I'm glad to have you. And for those of you that don't know, Jack was at Phoenicia with Eva. He's been a helper to me often. Really honored you're here, Jack.
Brian, thank you for that. Just reminded me again how guided and supported I am. It's really wonderful to see all of you guys that I've sort of kind of feel, I've come to know a little bit. I was planning a letting go ceremony today and had been putting it off for quite a while because I didn't feel like I was ready. But this morning before I came in, I realized I only have to invite whatever is ready to be let go of. And that meditation was perfect for me. Thank you again.
I'm glad, Kay. Thank you. Welcome.
Hi, everyone. I'm Elena. I'm in Rome. Hi, Kay, Lisa, Brian. And you want to say hello?
Hello.
Mm,
I'm really happy to be here. Also, yeah.
mhm. Welcome, Elena. And Sasha.
What?
Welcome, Sasha.
Thank you.
Glad you're here.
Yeah, I really felt. Thank you, Brian. I really this letting it that the healing is not of the. It's not of me. It's of spirit. Or this is resonate. Is becoming also more and more my reality. Let's say my experience that it. You open to. It's like this love pouring down, but I wanted to thank you because the light coming down through the the Tao, the really, it's not just this within, but also from above, like that feeling of that light coming down and shining down onto everything really really helps. Thank you. Yeah.
Mm.
She wants to say something. What do you want to say?
I don't understand a thing.
Don't lose that, Sasha. That's really precious. Keep that as long as you can. Thank you, Elena, for really making that light so palpable and real as it is.
Hi, I'm Sandy in Minnesota, and I thanks to Judy for voicing the resistant part. I have a lot of that right now. I'm kind of always fighting whether I should stay with myself and go in that direction or be with people. So anyway, I'm glad I'm here, and thanks to Sasha. And yeah, thanks, Brian.
Thank you, Sandy. I'm so glad you're here, and really.
Well, I'm Dan. I'm in Richmond, Virginia. And I'm just really glad to be here, seeing all these faces. And was really just felt the weight being lifted off as you named each one of those words, the resignation and hopelessness and despair. I realized that it's when they feel just right at the point of overwhelm, but if I'm willing to open and allow them, they seem to lighten. And as the sun or the light came down and caressed them or laid on them, they just kind of disappeared. And it's just a real feeling of lightness. So thank you very much for a very powerful guided visualization, Brian.
You're welcome, Dan.
I'm Bill. I'm in Charlottesville, Virginia. This week I've been feeling my mortality. I had my semi-annual skin cancer screening, so they biopsied some things and froze some things, and there's nothing like sitting in a backless gown in a cold examining room waiting for a medical professional to make you feel vulnerable. So I've been sitting with that, and it's kind of like, all right, well, this body isn't lasting forever. what's left. And, that's some kind of spirit, some kind of energy. And Brian, when you invited the core energetics, I pulled out my old weapon.
All right.
Some of you will remember what this is. I realized I don't use it anymore because the work has become subtler for me. So just having that little invitation to just move and breathe, it just really, I just felt the energy inside just kind of, turn on a little bit. So that was all it takes sometimes. It's just to kind of awaken the inner wiring. So thanks for that.
You're welcome, Bill. So glad you're here.
So, hello, I'm Chris, and I'm going to add to the Charlottesville contingent. I'm in Charlottesville, Virginia, and I too am feeling the vulnerability of mortality and my body declining. That's what I'm really sitting with right now. I'm allowing myself to recognize, to be with a sense of loss of my vitality right now. I need a hip replacement, and I do have a date set, April 8th. I just got the date, but it feels extremely vulnerable, very vulnerable. It feels daunting, and I am sitting with anxiety about the options to arrange my post-op care, and so there's all that, and just I'm used to being very vital and energetic, and just it takes a lot of energy to just move and function. So that all is sitting with that. And I really appreciated, yes, your guided meditation, Brian. I think where I noticed my resistance as well. And I think what feels actually grounding is to actually really breathe into the fear I'm holding right now that is there. And yeah, breathing into it, and the vulnerability, yes, the medical exams, the whole 9 yards. So that's where I am, just kind of just breathing into that, and I'm feeling relatively grounded, some sorrow. So thank you for being here and seeing me, allowing me to just say all that.
And Chris, I'm inviting any of us who can relate to the vulnerability, the fear, just to be here with you in our own experience of it and let it all mix together in that larger container of our group consciousness and really let it in, like we get it. You don't have to explain it to us. We're here with you. Really. Soak it up.
Thank you. I feel it.
Thank
really
you.
feel it. Thank you. Just gonna
Being a
meditate.
human being is the most vulnerable experience in the universe. Yes, it is. Even before any of the complications. So,
Oh, thank you. I'll see you again, but I'll invite you to come to my bedside after
thank you.
this is over.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Who's next?
I think I'd like to go and add my human vulnerabilities to the to the equation today. I've spent a month almost a month, last 20 days in a state of dizziness that was determined to be idiopathic. Is that correct word for it? Inexplainable, which was a very peculiar experience. And it's interesting. It's almost metaphoric in a way, because the whole time I was longing for balance. And when Brian started this meeting off with, like, what are you longing for? It's like, I'm longing for balance. And I'm having a physical experience of it to boot, you know? Very interesting. But I'm doing much better now. It's one of those things that comes and goes in a gradual process. And you know what? It hasn't really been that frightening. You know, for some reason, I felt like along the way that it was something that was, like, in a way meant to happen, you know? I think it kind of slowed me down, which was something that I needed to do. So, but thanks for the great meditation again, Brian. You always seem to bring us some kind of beautiful, you know, visual meditation. I love it. And I'm really happy to be here. And Mary's with me today. This is my significant other, Mary.
Welcome, Mary.
Good morning, everybody. I'm Alex, and I live in Harrisonburg, over the mountain from Charlottesville. It feels like a long time since I've been here on a Sunday morning. It's just been a difficult schedule for a couple of months, it seems like, with the holidays. And anyway, doesn't matter. I'm glad to be here today. I'm reminded of what a kind of moment it is to open up the screen and see all the faces, and to just know I can be safe for the next hour and a half. So that's feeling good, and it's my favorite kind of day here. It's rainy and dank and damp. For me, that's that brings me a lot of it's a sweet kind of day of I don't know. I just love it. It works for me. And thanks for having this. And I always love a meditation that involves a glen, an open space, and green grass, soft green mossy grass. And I loved letting all that go. I just couldn't wait to get it, to let it release. So thanks for that, Brian.
Welcome, Alexandra.
Hi, I'm Esther from Swampscott, Massachusetts, and I really liked that meditation a lot because it took me a while to arrive here today. I had just been on a Zoom call with an old friend who I hadn't spoken with for 5 years, and I had just needed to take a break in our relationship because I didn't want it to be the same as we had been. So I wanted to do this inner work. So it was just interesting because my mind was still in that conversation. But with your meditation, was it the ants flew away and the eels went into the earth, and the emotions and the thoughts from that for just 2 seconds, maybe I felt like that, what you were describing. And just being on that green moss reminds me of green in the heart connection. And I actually love moss. I'd like to have a moss floor in my house. And well, it was really great. And then I feel pretty open and empathic at the moment to everything I've been hearing, and it's been touching me like
Wow.
all of it. It was the anxiety, the fear, the especially about health, because I have a health issue. And I notice I laugh. So I'm working, thinking of that too whenever I do it. I'm just trying to be more cognizant of it's painful or I don't want to go there, so I laugh. So that's all for today.
That's a lot for today, Esther. Thank you. Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Elisa, go for it.
Yes. Hello, everybody. I'm sorry I missed the most of the meditation. Unfortunately, I will hear the recording afterwards. I feel still in the, and I will step in progressively, and I am stepping in progressively as you talk. At the same time, I'm still on the wave. Of last evening, I met 15 ex-colleagues of mine, and that was such a lovely evening. It was beautiful. Maybe it's one of the first times I really experienced a sense of belonging, because I always said, I always thought, no, with these people, it's good that it's over, it's over, but no, actually they are with me, and I was really happy to see them. I really, and we were all happy to see each other, and it was such a loving atmosphere, and funny, and so I'm bringing some of this here today also.
Thank you, Elisa.
Well, I'm Renee Watley from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Glad to see you, Brian. It's been a long time. Yesterday, I sat in on someone's helpership, claiming helpership, and she showed pictures of Seven Oaks. And I got a little nostalgic, so it's good to see you today. Feeling a little lost because I was glad to hear that the meditation would be recorded so that I can sit in it because I missed most of it. And what was interesting for me is that piece that you did about letting go of feelings and letting go of thoughts. And I was like in total resistance to letting go of either one of those things. And so I sat with that for a moment after the meditation and got clear that for so long, both for personal developmental reasons and societal reasons, that my feelings and my thoughts have been dismissed. And so I'm not ready to let go of them. It's like I need to know what they are and to hold them more dearly. So, but I heard everybody else's, how wonderful the meditation was for them. So I will go back, I'm sure, and work with some other pieces. But claiming my feelings and my thoughts right now is where I'm at.
Thank you, Renee. Those of you that don't know, Renee is a senior helper up north in Philadelphia and Pittsburgh regions. And while our helper training was separate, we would come together at Seven Oaks for trainings together with Susan Thusenga and Donovan Thusenga. And I have some very powerful experiences of that together still in me, Renee. Yeah. And I really appreciate the aspect of helpership that you just spoke to, Renee, around just being where we are and not any further ahead, that no matter how long we've been working on awakening, self-realization, resistance can pop up anytime, numbness can pop up anytime, and to let go of any thought there's something wrong with us or that this is a flaw, right? Like it's just part of our humble humanity that can arise at any moment in any setting. So is there anybody who hasn't spoken yet? Mary, do you want to say something and just introduce yourself?
Yes.
I'd love that.
Hello, everybody. I'm South American, and I felt I had been loaded up with stuff, and I took almost a 2-month-long trip, and that was good. Came back to discover that there's not a better place rather than your own home. And so I'm in this process of even more self-discovery, as I just recently retired, and it's exciting, and you know, I'm letting the emotions out, the feelings of vulnerability out, and it's all new, and it's great. And thank you, Brian, for being here. Thanks, everybody.
Great to have you, Mary. Okay, my name is Brian. I'm in Chapel Hill, North Carolina, and I'm just feeling warmed by the energy here, and also glad to see Sasha, who is a role model for me of spontaneity. So the word resistance has come up a couple times in the sharing, and again, I want to repeat what I just said, that resistance is not something wrong with us, right? And one of the things that struck me about the path work very early on is how resistance is actually welcomed, right? Because without the resistance, we're just numb. And resistance is at least some part of us that is arising energetically from our defense system, right? Some part of us that doesn't feel safe to let go. And unless the resistance shows up, we can't really turn to what it is trying to protect. So the novelist Henry Miller said, when you surrender, the problem ceases to exist, right? Yet we, as the controlling species, the conquering species, we just have a hard time with this notion of surrender. And so we are the conflicted species because we spend our lives resisting it, yet at the same time we also crave the freedom of surrender. We're on a journey of becoming that which we already are. That's the impossible paradox of our humble humanity, right? We're already spiritual beings, just in temporary human form, yet most often the human side of us is disconnected from that. So basically what this work is just learning to validate who I am as a human being today, whatever's going on in me today. Yesterday I was connected, open, present. Today I'm shut down. Okay. Right. But the basic paradox is everything is often a mess, yet all is well. There's a saying in Tibet that if you take care of the minutes, the years will take care of themselves. And that's what we're wanting to help each other do, wherever we are on the spectrum at the moment, right? As Emily Dickinson says, forever is composed of nows, and we're here to help each other find that freedom in the ongoing now. It's easy to get discouraged about the never-ending work of self-realization, of waking up, because it can feel relentless at times. For all of us, any of us. So soften your eyes again for a moment and let any piece of discouragement come up. Notice how it feels in your body. Notice the voices of the discouragement. What's the energy? What's the sound of those voices? And remember where you are right now. Just notice the discouragement without it overtaking you. Feel the earth under your feet again. Feel the light shining overhead again. Shining down on the discouragement that's been in the shadows. And gently coming back to the circle, letting your eyes open. We want to help each other here. Remember that each of us already has everything that we need. Everything that we need. That no matter what we're feeling, our nature is already home. Our nature is already pure. There's nothing to get. Yet, what we learn in this work is to give up and let go all our patterns, our thoughts that feed them, and the attachment, the negative pleasure that we get. Right? And to remember that we're worthy of all the time that it takes to do the things that heal our heart, no matter how long it's taking. So what this work is so powerful at, among other things, is showing us that while we can easily be overwhelmed by individual emotions, it's the patterns that they create that end up ruining our lives. And And there's value in not getting caught in the emotion that's arising, to step back into our compassionate, objective observer and just identify the emotion instead of identifying with it, so we can see the larger pattern that we're caught in. We often feel a prisoner of our patterns, yet they don't have to repeat themselves. Yeah. Just by remaining in the present, we can let go of the past and the future. And that's mostly what the patterns are about: attachment to the past and fear of the future. We do a lot of thinking in the path work, about our images, our patterns, our fixations, and so forth. Yet remember, the thinking is only a small aspect of our consciousness. And really, what we do here together is to keep shifting our identification from our thinking, our mind, our labels of ourself, our self-image, to who we really are, and the spiritual self, right? In temporary human form and temporary human disguise. So invite the eyes to soften again for a moment. And go back inside and just allow some of your patterns to appear. Notice them like a set of gears in a watch. See how they interlock and grip each other, move each other, yet pretty much the same way over and over, day and night. See them here for what they are, just gears, just patterns, and they will always do what they do. They're not who you are, no matter what anybody's told you. They're not who I am, no matter what I tell myself. So let that soft light of awareness, of consciousness, shine on them. Soften them. Even start to dissolve them. They were never real in the first place, just illusions of the defense system created by the mind. Just like that. This is all it takes. And again, taking all the time, slowly, gently, bringing your eyes back to the circle, and yet staying connected with that soft place inside. And let's make room here for what you're noticing, what you're curious about, what you need help with. Any and all of that is welcome here, right? Remember, when you speak, you're speaking for a number of us. You're the voice for others who are not speaking.
I'll say that my observation of myself is that my defense system for discouragement is the actual act of defensiveness. When I feel discouraged or criticized by someone, I go right into defensive behavior. Mary has pointed that out to me several times. She's the activator most of the time. Yeah, that's what. Beautiful that we're still together, though. You know?
Yeah. So, you know, I always struggle with the words that I use to bring something that I find alive and precious. And Frank, I sense that you're really speaking that here, which is we often get caught in an emotion that we're feeling at the moment, right? Somebody's not paying attention to me, somebody misunderstood me, somebody's judging me, right? And then we struggle against that emotion. Yet really what we're considering here is that the emotion is just part of a pattern, right? I feel hurt, and this is what I do to try and protect myself, these sets of behaviors and so forth and so on, right? And so when we're looking at the pattern instead of just the individual emotion, what happens is our struggle with that emotion just gets softer and weaker because now we're curious. There's a positive energy moving through us, like, wow, what's the pattern here, right?
What do I think that the conclusion of the pattern would be that I'm always right?
Yeah.
You know, it's like my self-will. I need to be always right. Please don't prove me wrong. I don't think I can handle that. You know?
Right. Yeah. Who else here? What are you noticing? And be willing to speak without even knowing what you're going to say, right? That's part of the magic that happens here.
I love how each time that I'm here with you guys, and especially when you're leading, Brian, that it just brings in exactly what I'm working on. And I love that you pointed out that this is a pattern, because I haven't really looked for that in the past. And what I noticed today is that I have three main emotions that cycle within me: fear, collapse or depression, and anger. And I'm noticing how it doesn't really matter which one comes first, but there is a spiral after that, and they continue to cycle. So this is a beautiful awareness for me. So thank you.
Thank you, Kay. That actually helps me to visualize the pattern. That's a spiral, right? Almost like a tornado cloud, picking me up and twirling me around, right? Like.
Yeah, I wanted to thank you too, Brian, for that that description, because that's very helpful for a visual person to see. I didn't see it the way Kay did, but thank you.
Yeah,
gives me something to like a template to work with it. More objectivity is more better.
Thank you, Sandy, for speaking.
I notice it's fear of being attacked that comes up for me. And also, wasn't sure I wanted to share this, but because sometimes, like when I close my eyes, I see visions, but I also had a history of mental illness in our family. So I was like a little afraid, like, oh man, what is this? But I feel Donald Trump's presence sometimes. And so this time, instead of reacting, I said, you're welcome to come. So whatever. I don't know what to make of some things.
Thank you, Esther.
And one thing that I'm kind of realizing, I guess, I like the way you described the patterns as clockwork, like the gears of a clock. And I'm always been the type that's like, yeah, I got to figure out what is the pattern and what are the intricate details, and end up getting lost in the mechanisms, trying to figure out, what causes what, the cause and effect. And I think what you'd said was, it's just so much clockwork. I don't know how a clock works. I know there are a lot of gears that make the little things turn, but the hands turn. But it was, I just felt things lighten when I just open to the fact that it's a pattern, and that's what I do as a human being. That if I can just allow myself to see that, to let these patterns be, at least as long enough to realize that I'm so much more than the pattern. Maybe I could give myself a little space to be.
Thank you, Dan. Yeah, when we see the gears, we realize it's time to let go of the pattern or attachment to the pattern, right? Like, I'm in a pattern and this is just what it's going to do.
And I think the secondary part of that is really opening myself to well, at least at this stage, what I want to be the truth. That the healing can come from outside. I don't have to be the watchmaker that fixes this thing. Somebody said earlier about the healing being available to us if we just open to it. I think that's just so crucial, because that's a sign that I have truly surrendered my role as watch fixer and have gotten to a point where I'm willing to see that there is a life force out there that is truly there to support me, and which I am a part of.
Thank you, Dan. Someone else have something moving through them before I speak anymore?
I just felt a relief when you were speaking. Relief that there's nothing wrong about resistance. There's nothing wrong. That it is a part that we need to welcome, and that we all have our own time, and so this puts off lots of pressure that we put on ourselves, and was good to be reminded of. Thank you.
Thank you, Elisa. So one of the things that really enlivens me is wanting to sort of crystallize my 30 years of path work and like, what does it really come down to in a nutshell? Because there's just so many aspects of the teaching, right? Volumes and volumes. And things to do are a key part of so much of the pathwork transformation process. There's real work in buckling down and turning to ourself and facing parts of ourself we've been avoiding all our life and so forth and so on. And all of that, as you know and I know, is of immense value. Yet what doesn't get said enough, and the guide keeps reminding us, it's also important to keep letting all that go. Okay? And just to stop and be still and do nothing and lie on that moss. Feel the earth holding us, right? Feel the light just coming down into every particle of our being. That we want to have an experience that there's nothing wrong with us, that we have everything we need already, right? Whereas the risk in the doing of the path work is that we're so busy doing the next exercise or reading the next lecture or understanding the next teaching that we never allow this essential experience that is really calling us every day, right? Someplace in every day just to let things go. And this is often taught as formal meditation practice, and that works for some of us and it doesn't for others. Yet what we're tasting here is just a few minutes of coming into that deeper experience of who I actually am as a spiritual being in a temporary human disguise. Right? That for the human in the incarnatory journey, a lifetime is a long time, right? For the spiritual being, it's just now. And this is the part that I really struggle to share effectively, and been beautifully informed by this, by just the teacher I'm amazed and loved so much, Gangaji. And she says, just stop, because that's what her teacher told her, Papaji, just stop trying. Stop trying to be awake, right? Well, what does that mean for you to just stop, right? To stop. Well, for most of us, it's stepping back from the thoughts that we have about ourselves. That's really where it begins, right? That we're just constantly in that stream of how am I doing? What am I doing? Why am I here? I'm behind. And I'd just like to have an inspiraling around this. Just stopping. Because this is actually what I understand the guide saying is so important about shifting our identification to the spiritual self, right? That when we just stop all the human busyness, there's nothing we have to do to connect with the spiritual self. It just is there already. When we stop, we turn to it and we go, oh, there you are, right? Because the busyness of our lives constantly has us looking outward. So whenever we do any of the exercises that we do, like today, that's really what we're trying to do, is just stop for a few moments, right? And a few moments are enough. Right? Gangaji's teacher told her, just stop for 12 seconds. That's enough. When I hear that, I go, I can do that. And then I do it and I go, wow, that's a long time. Yet in another place, it's like a 12th of a second is enough, right? Just the. And what I want to remind us, what we touched on last time, is the most powerful thing to do is just to realize how much you want to slow down and be still, right? That there's a powerful energy in that will help you through the distraction, through the resistance, just to come back into the heart, and the part that wants to be at peace, the part that really wants that experience of knowing everything I need is here. The experience of there's nothing I need to do, right? And if you have any doubt or resistance, feel free to just name it, express it, right? Like that. Or even the voice of Sasha, I don't know what you're talking about, right? Like that's a pure voice too. I invite you to notice any doubt in you that says, I don't know if I can have this. I see Brian has it at times. I hear other people talking about it, but I'm too wounded, I'm too shut down, I'm not smart enough. That's the most common human emotion that I observe that arises in myself and in others, right, when I'm at a low ebb. And again, the most powerful force is that longing to let yourself want it, right? I want it. Soon as I connect, soon as you connect with that longing, I want it. I really want to let go right now. Like the guide tells us, that's a commitment. And with a commitment, there's no waiting. There's no mother may I, or have I been good enough, or there's an immediate influx of energy. And so why don't we'll try that right now. Just soften the eyes again and take a moment and just allow the longing to arise. And remember, longing is most powerful when it's not about any specific object. It's about everything. And also be aware of the human part of us that's afraid of this longing. It's such a powerful force, right? Yet, the guide says, not only want it, want to want it, really want to want it. Just let yourself have a taste of that right now. And to whatever degree you can feel this longing, see it, feel it drawing closer to you. Remember, the longing is the part of you that knows, the part of me that knows this is ours, this is mine, this is my birthright. So, is it clear what I'm trying to say? That just wanting it is what brings it, right? So when we're in resistance, there are parts of us that are skeptical or afraid of it, right? Yet there's always deeper down some part of us that wants it. And really that wanting it, that longing, to light the candle of it, to really take a conscious step and say, I really want to have a taste of this right now, of just letting everything go. Right in the middle of whatever shitstorm I happen to be in the moment, right?
Yeah, I'm aware that I tend to physicalize my longings, turn them into appetites. So for the last year, I've been doing intermittent fasting, which means I only eat between noon and 6 or 7. And it's afternoon, and I'm noticing I really want to go have something to eat. And what I'm also noticing is that the breath is what works to shift my focus. So if I can remember to breathe, I just, become aware at a core level. Like, that's that's a pattern for me to try to physicalize longing, and I also somehow this connects. 2 years ago, I was guided to do some heroic levels of psilocybin, having foregone all that when it was young and fashionable. And I sort of thought, oh, I'm going to go out there and explore the edges of consciousness and come back with some new knowledge. And what happened at the end of those experiences was breathe and be present. Forget all that stuff. That was very interesting. Reminds you of how massive the universe and amazing the universe is. But no, your work is to breathe and be present. That was it.
Yeah.
Thanks, Mushroom. My Buddhist teacher, when I was 21 years old, told me, come back to the breath.
Yeah.
The simplest goddamn thing in the world. Simplest goddamn thing in the world. Remember to breathe and then become present. And then,
Thank you, Bill. Our longing really starts close to the ground, right? And builds up. That's part of what you're reminding us. And let's do this little go round together where just let your longing say something on a very simple level. where the longing is conscious, where it starts, right? So, without even knowing what you're going to say. So for me, my longing right now is to know there's nothing I need to do to be okay. My longing is to know I'm just okay the way I am without doing anything.
Mine says, feed me. Feed me.
Yeah.
Seymour, feed me.
Go ahead and let's everybody give it a shot if you're willing. Like just, again, you're speaking for all of us, whatever you say.
Safety.
I'm longing to be safe, you're saying. Yeah.
Safety without needing to be defended.
Mm-hmm. And stay with it, even if you've spoken. Something else that may come up.
To be loved.
Mm-hmm.
My longing is to let today be the better day and not be waiting for the better day in the future.
My longing is to trust spirit and follow its leadings more often.
My longing is to be perfectly healthy.
Mine too.
Feel into that, Frank. Feel into that one for a moment. Just, I long to be perfectly healthy.
There's a lot of fear behind that, fear of cognitive deterioration. So my longing is like, wow, I hope I'm not that person down the road who's needs to be taken care of.
Yeah. So Frank, hang on a minute, Bill. Consider this. Feel in with me and see if there's some truth here. I long to feel my deepest health, no matter what might be going on with me. Does that land?
It lands as your interpretation of my feelings.
Yeah, I welcome your pushing back, right? You notice any risk in the perfectly? You say it's like a fixed picture of what the demand might be. That's what I'm wanting to suggest here. That
I think I know where you're at, but the perfectly is a part of my.
Okay.
It's part of what I wish. I wish to be perfectly healthy.
Okay.
Forever. Until the day I die.
All right. Amen. I'm sorry, who else? I spoke over Bill.
Now, this was just a sign of, Frank, you're speaking what I would say.
Okay.
I think when I say safety, I also kind of, that's, that kind of means that it's like being healthy is what would feel safe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We are all a group. Yeah.
Longing for connection.
Yeah. Longing for connection and health. Yes. And freedom in the body and connection between mind and body.
Belonging.
What came for me is, I'm just going to say it, even though I am the longing. That was the strongest.
Thank you, Elena. Yeah, I am. Yeah.
I'm longing for myself.
I can feel my place like that. Thank you. So as we come in for a landing together, whatever the longing is, visualize it like looking through a kaleidoscope and turning it, right? It keeps unfolding and showing us different things. Because at the deepest level, our longing is to know we're God, no matter the labels we put on ourselves, right? And all the various forms of our longing as they emerge, if you get that fear, like I long for it, but I can't have it, remember what the gift of the Pathward Guide here is, that by the very nature of your longing, it's for something you already have. So what is that form of what I already have in me that my longing, in some cases, is getting attached to out there, right? Or certain circumstances. And invite us to go inside again as we land and bring a hand to the heart and just let whatever longing, the next layer of it arising, and hear a voice you've heard before that's so familiar. And it says, I'm here with you. I'm here with you. And taking yourself off mute and bringing the hands up and say in a number of different ways, I'm here with you.
I'm here with you.
I'm here with you.
I'm here with you.
I'm here with you. I'm here with you.
I'm here with you.
I'm here with you. I'm here with you.
I'm here with you.
I'm here with you.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody, for your co-creation and collaboration. And thank you, Sasha.